Hey, all right. You're listening to the Dead Man's Tome podcast, a live show broadcast from a trailer park deep in the heart of Meth County, Texas. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. With me is SK Barrett, a life coach that can unfuck your life. Tammy G is not here because she actually has a life, but we have Elliot Elliot's on the show. He's a guest. Look at that. He's part of the Month of Horror guys. He's been on a few times. I think this might be his third time on. Is that right?
Jesus, man, what's wrong with you?
I'm just a glutton for punishment. I love coming back.
Look at that.
SK, crack the whip.
Oh, by the way, shout out. If you want to get me drunk tonight, in which I'm going to bring this, I'm going to remind everybody throughout the show, I got this Crystal Skull, okay? Crystal Skull vodka. For $5 donations, I will be taking a shot of that throughout the show. So, there's that. Yeah.
So Jesse's a cheap date.
Yes.
But we kind of knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, he's not a boring cheap date. You gotta give him that one.
Right. It's about having fun, guys. That's what it is. Yeah. You know what? I'll go ahead and take the first one for free. Let's talk about cheap.
You know what they say, Jesse.
Already.
Yeah.
You know what they say. Basic bitches just want to have fun.
Oh, that's true. God damn it.
Are we going back that way?
Oh, fuck. Well, I've been exposed.
That was a really good episode, by the way. I love that. That was so funny.
Oh, which one?
So funny.
The succubus?
No, the basic bitch.
Oh.
The one where they were calling you basic bitch all night. I ain't gonna lie, dude. I about ran off the road twice laughing at it.
Well,
it was so funny.
That's been a running joke for all these episodes. So just name which one.
Well, no, it was
Jesse. Jesse, we do have a sponsor. It's the book.
Oh, the book.
Which book?
Which book?
Who was
the book I
Hydra?
posted in the chat earlier.
Hydra? Or what?
The book on basic bitches.
The Pumpkin Spice Daddy.
Oh, Pumpkin Spice Daddy. I can't show that because I wrote that book.
It's a real book, everybody. I'm not kidding.
He's not. There is a book called Pumpkin
Spice Daddy.
There is. That's a real thing.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get that image and I'll put it on the screen too. Okay. I'm sure people really want to see Pumpkin Spice Daddy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I'm pulling up. Just check it out myself.
All right. Man, well, I'll pull this up. So tonight we're talking about what? The Joker?
Yeah.
The Joker film?
Yeah. I'm assuming we're going to do a compare and contrast with previous Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
And we are we are going to be dropping spoilers, right?
Oh yeah, lots of spoilers.
Okay, spoiler warning if you haven't seen it, guys.
I mean, if you click on a live stream or on a show that says Joker Talk, Discussion and Theories, and Spoilers in parentheses, and you're surprised that there's spoilers, then you don't know how to read. What can I tell you?
You're a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
no
here's the book, Pumpkin Spice Daddy.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Oh my Lord, I see it.
See, it's Jesse on the cover.
Yeah, that's me on the cover, guys. Ladies, that's ladies. That's
it's like
me on
a
the
mixture of Jesse and like Clint Eastwood's son.
Yeah, see,
Scott
look at that. Look at that, huh? All right.
That's funny. That's
all right. Enough of that. So what do you guys think about the film? I think SK just watched it. I watched a bootleg, maybe or maybe not. Elliot, when did you watch it?
I might be in the same boat as you, maybe or maybe not. But
okay. Yeah, my money goes to my kids.
But I saw it. Yeah, but I've seen it twice already. Honestly, I loved it. It was everything I was hoping it was going to be, and just a little bit more. Just even in that opening sequence, like the first thing you see, the kind of gets you set is him. He's putting on the makeup, and he's sitting there trying to make himself, like forcing a smile on his face, and then he pulls his fingers back. You see that he's basically crying.
Yeah.
And it just kind of lets you know this is the kind of ride you're in for.
Mhm.
So if you just beware. We're not going to be sitting here laughing at everything.
No.
It's
No.
and honestly, that's the thing about it is I guarantee you, like a lot of people probably went into this thinking that there were going to be funny scenes. Honestly, there was only one, and it was after probably one of the most gruesome scenes.
Yeah.
And even as it was fun, it wasn't even necessarily probably meant to be funny.
Right. I mean, this isn't Jack Nicholson. This isn't.
No, this is not. This is not Jack Nicholson. This is not Mark Hamill.
No.
If I had to compare,
it's Cesar Romero. That's what it's so close
Cesar
to that.
Romero. Yeah, old school Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The sad
that
version
would
of Caesar.
kind of fit.
Yeah.
That would actually kind of fit in a way.
I could see that.
Because I was thinking like this Joker was like the father of the Joker we got in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Yeah. And the makeup, actually kind of reminds me of Cesar Romero more than the other Jokers. See, now we're already comparing. SK, what about you? What are your initial thoughts?
So it was so slow paced, so slow, and it just threw out story structure, just ignored story structure completely in the traditional sense. And I kept waiting for there's going to be an inciting incident any minute now. And there wasn't ever.
Because the inciting incidents were happening all throughout the movie.
Yeah, but the inciting incidents are supposed to incite the rest of the story, not the climax.
Yeah.
You understand?
Well, no, I get that.
It kind of plays like a biopic, at least to me anyway. It seemed more like a biopic.
I kind of appreciate what they were trying to do with this. And I agree that they were trying to show this was, a buildup of events to this one point, but it's kind of frustrating because it is building to something.
Mm-hmm.
But then then it's over.
It kind that structure kind of reminds me of some of those biopics where like the story is about the character. It's like it's not really about. Well, that's it. I mean, everything's about the character, about how they came to who they are, right? Like the formation of a band or Johnny Cash or whatever. This is the story of Joker. Is his story, like how he got there, how he realized who he is, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It is a slow film, especially compared to other comic book movies, because that's what it kind of is, right? It is based on a comic, sort of. A comic character, but it's so far removed in a way, but kind of not really. See, I'm kind of torn.
Yeah.
Because my initial thoughts, I of course enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the grittiness of Gotham, the way it was captured, in a way that looked real. Like it kind of reminded me of the Gotham in Tim Burton's Batman. Like it was very gritty, greasy. It looked like like you didn't want to be there. It's nasty, but this wasn't just an origin of like the Joker, but the origin of Gotham, the city itself. It's like how did it get there? So you have like this massive tension between the class, the rich and the poor. You got crime breaking out. You got the streets are filthy. You got the sanitation strike going on, which is okay.
Yeah, that is enough to drive anybody nuts.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
honestly, it's the best way I can describe it. It literally is chaos,
mm-hmm.
And that's what the Joker is always known for. Like the only organization that he has ever had is to create chaos. But then again, the reason why, like, have you ever heard of, chaos theory?
Chaos theory.
They're saying like a whole bunch of different events, different things that happened that had nothing to do with one another ended up creating this one big event.
Right.
And I think that's probably a good representation of what this film is, because yeah, you're right. There was a problem going on with the sanitation strike, funding getting cut because Arthur was a mentally ill patient, and who was under the he had his own social worker so he could get his meds.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then and because he got jumped at the beginning of the movie, which, like I say, everything was just a slow build. And the one way I like I said, I know I keep going back to The Dark Knight, but the only reason why it was The Dark Knight's or the Joker's theme. And if you go back and listen to it, if you ever go back to that movie and watch it, it's literally like a violin that sounds like the string is just being tightened and tightened, and we're just getting stretched and stretched and stretched to the point that it's going to break.
Yeah.
And that was probably like one of the most, like, I think, really accurate and very well thought out representation of the Joker. And it even sounded like they used some of Hans Zimmerman's music towards the end of it. But like I said, it's just everything itself in the movie, or everything in the movie is just like one thing that just led up to another that led to what happened. And because, like I said, he got jumped,
right,
and then a friend, and then a supposed friend that he works with gives him a gun that he didn't even ask for. And he gets jumped, and then he gets jumped again, and then he gets jumped again.
One of the things that really fascinates me in stories, but even more so in real life, are the way these tiny events can turn somebody's life. Just minuscule type things can make the difference in a person's life one way or another, in a huge way.
But yeah, you're right.
and you see, and they did a great job with those things. Absolutely.
Because I mean, like you said at the end, he's dressing up as as the clown, and there's a movement going on with people wearing clown faces that he had nothing to do with. I mean, he literally said, "No, like, do I look like the type of clown that could organize this? Like, this was not political."
Right.
Well, they co-opted him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they reached out. What it was is people were already starting to be angry about, like sanitation strikes, the cutting of funding, but yet they're still seeing the higher class of Gotham kind of almost, I don't want to say rubbing it in their nose or rubbing their face in it, but but just essentially not really giving two craps about the people that are struggling.
Yeah. I mean, they practically
and like
were.
I said,
but
they practically were. But like I said, Arthur, God bless him, he got jumped once. He had, he lost his job. He has to take care of his mother, who was batshit.
Which,
insane.
by the way, you learn so much about her. I mean, the amount of build up to explain how he becomes the Joker, to me, makes a whole lot of sense. It is a gradual build, like you said, Elliot. It's a gradual build. Where like Batman, it's like you have like the one moment, and then of course he goes through that training and all that stuff, whatever. But the Joker, it's like you have this, like a series of things.
It was literally a string being stretched and stretched and stretched until it finally breaks.
I would have, I mean, just from my preference. By the way, I think Joaquin did a fantastic job with the character.
Amazing. amazing job.
He did amazing. If he doesn't get an Academy Award nomination, I'll be very disappointed.
I would have I would have liked to have the last, like, what was it, 10 minutes be more like 30 to 45 minutes, and spend a little less time on the build-up. Compress that a little bit, and spend a little bit more time once the chaos starts.
I would like to have more chaos. More time in the chaos part would be great, but I don't know if I want to. If I took anything out from the beginning, it'd be I don't know. I mean, you have the scenes where he's stalking the girl, but you kind of need that, right? I mean, that was kind of part of his obsession, like his delusions, really, with Arthur.
It was his need. It was his need for, because he had. I mean, if you think about it, he had no positive relationship in his life,
right?
That was, healthy positive. And the only person that was nice to him was a dwarf that he always loved laughing at jokes at his expense.
Right.
He was the only guy that was ever really nice to him. So yeah, he was reaching out for a positive relationship.
There's something that the big guy said. I don't know if you caught that. There's something that the big guy said when he gave him the gun. The way he said it, like, "Oh, you'll pay me back. You're good for it." The way he said it, it sounded like something dirty. I don't know. Maybe I was like kind of gutter brain there, like, what the fuck was that? Like, did it seem weird? I don't know.
No.
He's just an he's just an instigating backstabber that likes to be someone, act like he's being someone's friend, but at the same time, like,
there was a bit.
Around.
I will grant you that was a bit of a setup without a payoff, because it's a weird line to throw in there, and nothing ever comes of it,
unless you want him to get fired on purpose, But
that was what he was. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
We'll get into the theories later about that. There's a whole thing about delusions and how much we actually know, how much is actually real, all that stuff. But we'll get into that later on. So SK, what would you cut out from the beginning? Because you said you would cut something out. Do you have an idea?
Oh, I don't know what I would. I could. Any good editor could have trimmed that down if you wanted to, right? And who knows? It might have more of an effect if it's more compressed. You're asking a question like, I feel like I'm the emperor in Amadeus, where I say there's too many notes.
Yeah. I can tell you right now what they could cut. I can tell you, like, there was a part where after the build up, I think he just killed his mom. What was it? When he was going back to the apartment, he was going back to the chick's place, and there's having some brief flashback moments, but they're very brief, like giving it as if reminding the audience of stuff we've already seen in the film. It's like, we already saw that. Like, why are you reminding us of that? We already know.
Because that was the only true interaction that he had.
But I kind of feel like
until he realized that there was no interactions after that.
Yeah, but I would imagine most film goers go, okay, yeah, like moviegoers would be like, yeah, like, I know that already. Why are you reminding me about that? Like, we just saw that. Yeah, but I think they could have got rid of that. But that's like a few seconds. That's not even. That really wouldn't help SK.
Honestly, honestly, I think mine's going to be the unpopular opinion.
Sure.
The scene with Bruce, I felt like that was forced. The scene where he arrives at Wayne Manor wanting to talk to Thomas Wayne, and he ends up running into Bruce, and does a magic trick for him, and I just felt like that was forced. I felt like they were trying to hint, like, oh, hey, Batman. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like I said, and I told Jesse before he went and saw it that if the names Gotham City and Thomas and Bruce Wayne weren't there, you would not know that this was the Joker, because it was so, like, it it was so like detached from over the top comic book, normal comic book stuff that we've been given.
Right.
And and to quote Jesse, it's kind of a palate cleanser. I mean, I actually do like the Marvel movies, but you're right. It is a palate cleanser. It is like, okay, we're going to take all the over the top stuff and we're going to give you a different kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
And it like I said, it's definitely more realistic. I mean,
definitely more real. That's what I feel
Well,
about this
yeah,
film.
but here's one of the
One of the things.
one
Come on,
of
SK,
the one of
say
the
it.
one of the tongue-in-cheek definitions of a movie is life with all the boring parts taken out. And
essentially, yeah.
They didn't do enough of that.
Well, it's part of his boring life. I mean,
I mean, honestly, like, I think you had to see that. You had to see, like, he was a good son. You had to see that he was a nice guy that just was not having, the world essentially just shits on him from day one.
mm-hmm.
And even from our perspective, from the start, it's like he tries to, take lemons and make lemonade, and people keep coming up and pissing in it.
Right.
I mean, and the thing about it is like it really gets you feeling sad for this guy until you realize he is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then it goes from being sad to terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
because, I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was gonna say it's kind of mixed. Like I didn't really feel sad or terrified. It was just like I knew it was gonna happen. It was building up, especially the Murray scene. I was like, okay, yeah, he's not shooting himself on the scene. He's not doing that. He's gonna do some crazy. Oh, that's it. He's the Joker now. That's it. That's how he becomes. And the way he did it was so chaotic. Like it's not like he actually wanted to be this Joker guy or whatever. Like it's
like he
chaos.
got put on that pedestal and he just wrote it. Yeah, the chaos. Like, because him like I said, him shooting the guys that were beating him up had nothing to do with a political statement. It was just he was defending himself.
Right.
Well, it started
off as
the other
defense.
one the other one was murder.
Yeah.
The third one was murder. The first two he was defending himself. But yeah, like I said, people were angry and they gravitated towards it and turned it into a movement. And he was just like, even he was just kind of shocked by it. But he started finding, like his mental illness, which I do want to touch on that.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. But
the thing about it is, and they even said it on Murray, he found what he did funny, even though it was tense. It was unbelievably high in emotion and a heat in the moment, but he found it funny.
Right.
And he's, because he said on Murray's, when he goes, "You think killing those men is funny?" He goes, "I do, and I'm tired of pretending it's not." Because, I mean, if you watch, like, the first time that it's mentioned on the news, he, like, sits down, almost looks nervous, and then he has, like, a smile on his face. And you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Right.
Because that kind of wasn't what we were given. Like, he seemed like a victim. And, but then, he turned it around and wasn't the victim anymore. He was the perpetrator. He was the victimizer.
Yeah, and there was a line he says at the end when he shoots Murray that really sums it. I don't remember the line exactly. What's the line?
What do you get when you cross a mentally ill patient and with the dredges of society that I think alienate him or do something? He goes, "You get what you fucking deserve."
Yeah.
And because I think that was the line. It was something a little bit more.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's what it is. It's You're right.
You have a guy, and I know SK does have a point that it's a lot of boring, slow stuff. Like if I was invested into this idea of the movie, I probably would have watched it. But then again, I kind of wonder, like, Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver's kind of slow parts too, but okay. But about this film, it's like you want to know that he kind of about his life, that it's slow. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to him. He's mentally ill. It's sad. He's trying to care for his mom. His mom is sick. She's dying. There's all the stress in the city. There's this class warfare about to break out. It sounds like. It's just grimy, greasy reality that he's in.
One of the points that
I'm sorry. I just want to say that.
One of the points that my screenwriting instructors would continually hammer into our heads is that, audience isn't as dumb as you think they are. They get it. So make your point and move the fuck on. But this movie wouldn't do that. They wouldn't move on from the one point. They just kept playing that same note over and over and over again. We get it. Yes, he's fucked up. He's got a fucked up life. All this shit's happening to him. And then what?
Yeah.
Well, we don't get that till the end of the movie.
Oh, I'm kind of curious what note you think they overplayed.
Well, bad shit's happened to him. He's mentally fucked in the head.
Okay.
Nothing goes right for him. Yeah. Okay. You got that covered. And then you go over it, and you go over it, and you go over it, and you run that into a rut. It's just, we saw that. You made your point. Move on.
Well, at the same time, though,
tell us something new.
There's different things happening in those scenes still, like the part where he finds out about his mom, like that, or like the comedy
finding
scene.
Out that.
So what?
Finding out that his tick, because he was under the impression it was just a neurological disorder he was born with.
Yeah. And that he was abused by his adopted mother. Oh shit! Handcuff to a radiator. Change to a radiator. Oh man, dude.
Yeah. Malnourished, changed to a radiator, abused, beaten.
By the way, I did want to make a point about that, and that is that there is some research that has found a tentative correlation between traumatic brain injury and serial killers. In other words, serial killers tend to have a higher incidence of traumatic brain injury in their formative years.
All right, I'm gonna go take the shot over here. That was an old thing. Why did I saw the gift? That was related to the Vic Mignogna thing. That's nothing. That's nothing. Just ignore that. But anyway, let me take the shot of vodka. I have to do with some Funimation leaks. Long story. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me take the shot of vodka. But I get it, man. There's a lot of times where they hammered on the note of the same nail that yes, he has a fucked up life. A lot of bad shit would happen to him. But there are things that they're trying to build up on the story that like his mom, the way how fucked up his mom is, especially to him. Like at the beginning of the movie, you thought his mom was like this sick old woman. Like you felt sorry for the mom, but then once you realize the mom is fucked up, you're like, oh fuck her, kill her, Joker.
Yeah.
God
yeah.
damn.
No,
it.
You're right. You're right. I mean,
and I think too is what Todd Phillips is trying to do is the comic book lore is Joker fell in the vat of acid, and that's how he turned the way he is. Right? I mean, that's kind of like the running thing.
That's one thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you take that and go? Well, let's turn it into like a compelling biopic that, we're gonna have Joaquin Phoenix. So, kind of like a lot of close-ups, a lot of build up. He did a pretty good job in Walk the Line. So maybe we could do a biopic. I don't know. It's like.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right about the. I mean, I don't agree with SK on the fact of the move on, and the reason why I don't agree with it is
Yeah.
because I feel like you connect with him more. I feel like you're on the journey with him to
What journey?
to that point. Well, I mean, no, I
To
mean,
find out about his life.
well, no, not only just finding out about his life, just honestly, it's not that. The journey is to the Joker,
Mhm.
and we're seeing,